Welcome to Camera Basics, where we're going to take care of some easy things, but also some very important things. In here, I want to talk a little bit about the type of camera we're working with, the sensor size, a few of the main controls that we'll be using throughout the remainder of the class, and I want to get you set up with the correct file format for what you want to be shooting. All right, first up, we have a mirrorless camera. These cameras have interchangeable lenses. The lenses have apertures within them, at least for the greater part of what all the Canon lenses are. There is an exception or two, but this is the first way of allowing and controlling the amount of light coming into the camera. From there, the light's going to try to be getting into the sensor. Now, there is a shutter unit that controls when that light gets into the shutter unit. And normally with a mirrorless camera, it needs to remain open so that you can have an image on the LCD monitor or in the electronic viewfinder so that you can actually see and compose and work with your image. When it comes time to actually take a photo, well, that's where these shutter units pull into action. And so what happens with a traditional shutter is that it would close and then open, which is your exposure time. And then the second unit would close so that each pixel is exposed for the same amount of time. And then it would need to open again so that you could see and compose your next shot. Now, that's not actually technically how this camera works in its standard default option. It can work in this manner, and it gets a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to save that discussion for capture controls in section 5, where you can go into the shutter mode and change the different shutter modes, and there's lots of implications with different changes. The standard setup that the camera has is very good, and I'm going to recommend leaving it there, but there are some other interesting options. But that's the way the light is, in essence, controlled when coming into the camera. So those are your most critical components of a mirrorless camera. Probably the most important element in a camera is the sensor itself, and one of the most important aspects is the size of the sensor. There are many different cameras that offer many different sizes, and there's different attributes to having a large or small one. This one is based off of the same size of area as 35 millimeter film. It was a very popular standard. It wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the smallest. It was just a nice, happy medium, and that's kind of where we have found ourselves once again with full frame cameras. We call them full frame because they are the same size as 35 millimeter. They make smaller size sensors, as I say, that will have a crop factor, which means they're smaller by a factor of 1.5, 1.62 times, or some other number on there. Now, the basic controls on this camera, we have an on and off switch. Now, there is a lock position where you'll be able to lock out certain controls by putting it into the lock position. The camera's on, but some controls are locked, and this is something that we're going to dig into a little bit more deeply a little bit later on. When you turn the camera on, the camera automatically goes through a sensor cleaning system that tries to knock off any dust that is on the sensor. Now, this is something that you can go into the menu and you can activate when the camera is turned on, but anytime you're turning the camera on and off, it's just automatically doing it, which generally is a good thing, but it might make a little bit of noise that you notice. Over on the left-hand shoulder of the camera is the still and movie mode of this camera. Now, the camera can shoot both stills and movies, and it's very, very different in the styles in which they are recorded. There's a lot of operations of the camera that work very differently, so you can choose one or the other. And as I say, the camera works very differently when you're in movies compared to stills. Most of this class is going to be based on stills operation because this is a still camera that happens to shoot movies as opposed to a movie camera that happens to also shoot stills. But we do have an entire section on shooting movies in here, and so stay tuned for section 9 on that one. All right, shutter release is going to be for taking photos. The main dial just behind it is your go-to dial for most changes on the camera. If you want to change something, that's usually the dial that you're going to go with, so it controls a lot of different features. We have something called a quick control dial 2. This is kind of where your thumb will rest on the camera. And there is a lot of controls that this will offer as well. And so it's something that we're going to see in many different features. There is a control ring on most all Canon lenses with the RF system. Now, this is not natively set to anything in particular. So you're going to be able to go in and customize this to control some feature or another. And so there's a lot of different options you have for that. On the back of the camera is the quick control dial 1. And this is after the main dial, this is going to be the next most main dial that you're going to go to for making changes. Inside that is a set button where you're going to confirm different features that you might be going into the menu setting. And so that's kind of like the enter key on your computer when you are wanting to confirm a choice. Next up, we have the multi-controller, which is kind of the main purpose of this one is for focusing and moving the focusing point around, but you can navigate within menus using that as well. And so it's a very easy way of selecting one item or another. Now the camera also has a touch screen that you can use. Some people like it, some people don't like it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. You can turn it off. You can use buttons and dials for everything in controlling the screen. And so just an option that you have if you like that. Now let's talk a little bit more about that shutter release. When you press halfway down, there's a lot of things going on with that light little press of the shutter release. It wakes the camera up, should it be asleep, which happens because the camera wants to conserve battery life, so it will go to sleep in many cases. It'll activate the metering system, which usually lasts for about 8 seconds, but that is something that you can control. Autofocus will happen, so if your lens is in autofocus and it's turned on, it'll automatically focus by just pressing halfway down. If you don't like that and you want to do back button focusing, that's something we'll talk about in the focusing section, so this is an optional feature of the half press. And then finally, if you're in the menu system, if you have any sort of operation of the camera set up so that you're looking at menus and so forth, and you're not sure on how to get out of it, just press halfway down on the shutter release, and that always kicks you back into the shooting mode and makes those menus disappear. Press all the way down to take the photo, obviously, but you want to be very familiar with where that half press, because there is a lot of operations on the camera that happen with that half press. If you do want to go in and customize that button a little bit, you can go into the customization feature of the camera, and this is going to be one of the buttons that you can customize, and you can take off the autofocus that is attributed to it. There's a few other options as well, and we'll talk more about that as we get deeper into the class. Still under the basic controls of the camera, I must talk about the multi-function button on this camera. On traditional Canon cameras, they put an ISO button right up near the shutter release, and it was a really handy feature. Anytime you wanted to change the ISO, you would press the ISO button, turn a dial, and you could quickly change that one particular feature. But it was limiting. The only thing you could do with it was change the ISO. So they decided to add multiple functions onto a button right near the front of the camera. And so the camera has a full menu system. The camera has a quick menu system. Think of this as the super quick menu system, where it's just a few features that you're likely to want to go in and change on a regular basis. So when you press this button, you're going to get a small menu that has 8 items on it. There's 4 of them across top and bottom. And what you'll do here is you'll turn the quick control 2 button to change between the different rows. You'll use the main dial to change the top feature, and the quick control dial, or the dial on the back of the camera, to change the bottom feature. So let's go ahead and take a look just to make sure that you are comfortable using this. Let's go ahead and turn our camera on. And we simply press the multifunction button on the top of the camera, and you can see it shows up on the back of the camera. We use this thumb dial on the right-hand shoulder of the camera to dial between the different groups of these. If we want to change the top one, which happens to be white balance, we can turn the top dial. If we want to change the metering mode, which is on the bottom setting, I'm going to leave everything exactly where it is for right now. And then you can press the set button to turn it off. So just press the multifunction button, turn the dial over. Now, if you're one of the old school Nikon, that's a Freudian slip there. If you're an old school Canon shooter and you liked it being the ISO button, you'll notice that I left it under the ISO setting, which is changed with the back dial here. And so I could change it to a particular setting like ISO 800, and then I would simply press the multifunction button again, and I can bump that up to 1600 if I wanted to change it very quickly. And so it always remains exactly where you were the last time that you were in that particular feature there. Now, this is something that can be customized. If you don't like where certain items are, you can move them around. If you don't like the fact that it shows up because you never change it, you can take it out. There's not too much that you can really add in here, but you can do some customization, and this is something that we'll deal with as we get more into the customizing of the camera itself. All right, let's talk about file format. It is something that is really important that you have set up correctly right from the beginning on your camera so that you're shooting the files the way that you want them to shoot. Now, of course, the main option here is going to be shooting either RAW files or JPEG files. RAW files are the original information from the memory card. It's going to give you the greatest dynamic range so that you have the most information to work with later on. So I highly recommend shooting with RAW. It's how you're going to get the most out of this camera. But fact remains, all photographers work with JPEG images in one manner of speaking or another. A lot of times, photographers will shoot RAW, they'll do some adjustments on their images, and then they'll export them as JPEGs either for themselves to use for social media or business purposes, or they'll be sending those JPEGs off for a variety of reasons. Now, we also have the option of HEIF images. Now, HEIF, you might say, is a new JPEG image. It is a compressed image, but it's not compressed as much, and so it's a little bit higher quality. It is growing in popularity, but JPEG is super popular and everyone's computers and programs knows how to use JPEGs, and so they're going to be the easiest one for everybody to use. And so if the HEIF images work well for your workflow, well, that's something that you might want to test and make sure. And if they are, that's great. You can get a slightly better compressed image out of that. In order to get to those HEIF images, you do need to go into the still shooting menu under HDR shooting, PQ, and turn on the HEIF option for shooting in there. And then instead of JPEGs, you're going to have HEIF options. But right now, I am still recommending people set the camera up for JPEG if that's what they think they're going to need, just because HEIF images don't play well with a lot of different programs that are still out on the market today. All right, so when you dive into this particular feature, the first option, the one that I think is quite popular for most users of this camera, is going to be the RAW option. This is where you get the full information. You're going to get the full resolution of the camera with the least amount of compression. Now, the RAW files on this camera are as good as it gets, but Canon does offer another compact RAW file, and this is where Canon is using all of the resolution of the camera, so it's the full 32 megapixels, and it just compresses that information without throwing away anything that's important. They have come up with their own special algorithm for reducing file size, and I've done lots of testing. I'm going to show you some testing on this when we get into the menu section for the shooting menu, and I'll show you some details, but I can just tell you that the result right now is that the compact RAW from Canon is fantastic. It works really, really good, and I highly recommend using it. You might want to check to make sure that it works in your programs that you use. There is the very, very rare chance that your camera can read a Canon RAW, but not a Canon compact RAW. So that's something that you might want to test before you go overboard with it. But generally speaking, the compact RAW is the way to go and is the way a lot of Canon shooters use their cameras so that they're getting the maximum resolution, the maximum dynamic range, but not getting an overly bulky file out of the camera because it is about half the file size as the full RAW. After those, we get into the JPEG options. And so first up, we have large JPEG, which is the full resolution, but it's a file that is compressed into a smaller size file and put into either a JPEG or HEIF option. And this could be good for somebody who's shooting sports, who knows they're going to be shooting through a lot of images. The file size is about half the compact RAW, so it is quite small in size. And there are two different versions. There's a low compression and a high compression, depending on whether you want a little higher quality or a little bit smaller file size. Then we get into smaller file sizes, smaller resolution, less number of megapixels, and we have low and high compression options in here as well. Most people are not going to be shooting in medium or small, but every once in a while, a photographer needs to shoot a file that is very much exactly what someone needs so that they don't need to use a computer to downsize it or compress it in any way. And so there's lots of different options on there. Now, you can, of course, shoot RAW plus JPEG. And do I ever recommend that? Generally, I don't. If you have a RAW image, even a compact RAW, you can make a JPEG image out of it. And so myself, most of the time, 99% of the time, I shoot RAW. And if I need a JPEG, I'll make a JPEG according to the needs that I have for that JPEG. If I'm emailing somebody, I have one standard. If I'm going to post it on social media, there's a different standard. If there's printing, yet another standard. Now, I would recommend shooting RAW and JPEG if you know that you need that when you are shooting. Perhaps you want RAW files for working with later on, but somebody else wants to grab the JPEGs off of your camera right after the time that you are shooting. And so there are reasons for shooting RAW plus JPEGs, but they're usually more special cases where you are needing both files immediately off the memory card. All right, so hopefully you've got your camera set up. If not, let's go ahead and take a look at this camera to make sure that I've got it set up properly for class here. So if you want to set this up, go into the menu system. And remember, you can use this quick control dial 2 to go over to the red section, which is the shooting mode. Use the front dial to go through the different tabs. And right where it should be, the image quality is the first item in the menu system. Currently, this is set to large JPEG. And I would like to do a little bit more than that. I would like to shoot in RAW. And as I say, compact RAW is fantastic, and it's going to be smaller file sizes, but it's still the same resolution. So you'll be able to enlarge the image just as large. Now, you turn the top dial to select whether you want RAW and what type of RAW you want. You're going to select the quick control dial on the back of the camera to select what type of JPEG, if any, you want. So right now the camera is set up in the compact RAW only. I'm going to have it shoot JPEG as well, just to make sure everything works normally. Some things only work with JPEG images, and so this is how I'm going to have it set up for the class. But to be honest with you, when I go out shooting on my own, I'm going to have it set up like this because I think it works really well there. So that's where I'm going to set it, and I'm going to press the set button, and you can make your own choices about how your own camera is set up. All right, so that takes care of most of the basics I wanted to cover in here. Now, if you are looking for more information about photography classes, I make a whole host of other classes. My Photography Essentials is a nice basic guide that gets new photographers up and running with all the basic essential information that they need. If you want a little bit more compositional ideas, I have a little short class on that one. And if you want to dive more into the serious subjects, more depth, I have complete guides. I have one on focusing and sharpness, and there's a lot to talk about in that course, as well as one on photographic exposure. Two of the most important areas, focusing and exposure, to have right in your camera. And so if you want more in-depth classes on either of these topics, go to my website and you can find out more information about them. And that will take care of this section on camera basics.